everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you had a pleasant session in the morning and nice to see you all over here. So good afternoon to all those who have wished, and thank you so much. So as far as medicine is concerned, it's, as you know, integrated subject of many subjects. So what area of medicine that you need to really focus on is the area that is not overlapping with other subjects. Mainly I would say the endo, cardio, neuro part nobody else does, so it has to be covered in detail by medicine. But lot of stuff like nephro, for example, is done extensively in patho. Even GI is covered both by patho as well as surgery. Then you have rheumat, significant part is done in orthopedics. So a lot of overlap is there. I think the non-overlapping areas, if you focus, I think your medicine should be pretty good. So let's start with medicine. And as I was telling you, the main core areas of medicine that don't overlap with any other subject is endo, cardio, neuro. So this is one area that I think where a lot of questions come and they are rank deciders. So let's start with the endocrine part. And if you look at the antidiuretic hormone, ADH can be two types. Either it is too much ADH or too little ADH. Okay, antidiuretic hormone can be too little or too much. Too much means excess secretion is happening. Okay, this is what we call SIADH. Okay, so good afternoon for those who joined in late. So as far as the ADH, I was telling you, too much ADH is syndrome of inappropriate secretion of antidiuretic hormone, and too little ADH, we're talking about diabetes insipidus. Though extreme hote, so this is one of the two things. Let's first look at SIADH. Now the concept in both SIADH and diabetes where they are testing in our exam is very simple, very silly actually, and that is key. If you are looking at a condition where too much ADH too much antidiuretic hormone is there, that ADH is retaining the water, then naturally one of the two things will occur. One, too much water retention will dilute the sodium and the sodium concentration will come down. Because we pull back the water, obviously in this case the urine sodium has to rise. Okay, two consequences will be there. You're going to pull back the water, you'll concentrate the urine, you're diluting the plasma sodium, you're going to concentrate the urine sodium. Sometimes I've seen question is asking about polyuria and students are answering SIADH. Please don't do that kind of big blunder, because a patient with SIADH is antidiuretic hormone, not diuretic hormone. It is antidiuretic, it will retain the water. So you cannot expect a patient to have polyuria. This is going to be volume of urine actually will be low. It will be low. So in this case, one of the main areas for questions we'll just discuss is going to be urine sodium, and I'll tell you in detail about it. Anyway, the consequences are that if you look at ADH increase, it will act on the V2 receptor. By acting on the V2 receptor, it will insert aquaporin into channels. It will cause water reabsorption, and this is one of the primary reasons why the sodium is getting diluted. Okay, the retention of water is diluting the sodium. As the water reabsorption occurs, the plasma volume will expand, and whenever plasma volume expands, any stretching of the atria will release natriuretic peptide. Natriuretic peptide also is one of the reasons why urine sodium is high. Okay, a natriuresis will cause, as the name is telling, natriuretic peptide will cause natriuresis. So this natriuresis that is occurring is also one of the reasons why urine sodium is very high. Every topic in medicine, like we tell the students, this is what they'll ask, like laser guided. Okay, so in our exams, what are the questions they're asking? First is, you must understand SIADH is euvolemic. Nor this patient will have edema, nor will they have dehydration. Okay, no edema and no dehydration. Very important feature. This is euvolemic. How did it become euvolemic? Thanks to the ANP. What are the main features? You get hyponatremia, you get euvolemic hyponatremia. But the most repeated question, if you ask me, is this. So urine sodium, normally, the urine sodium fluctuates somewhere between, in a normal person who's adequately hydrated, 20 to 60. But actually speaking, strictly speaking, there's no such thing called normal sodium, because any normal person, if we drink too much water, we can dilute our sodium. If we fast, the urine sodium can get concentrated. So there's no really normal, but typically adequately hydrated person should be 20 to 60. This person, even if he drinks water, he cannot dilute his urine sodium because water is not allowed to go in the urine. ADH, excessive ADH, reabsorbing water. So if you see the last so many years questions, the most repeated topic is this only. Urine sodium will be less than 20. That will be the except. That is incorrect option. Right, let's go ahead then. So I was telling you, urine sodium cannot get diluted. Okay, urine sodium will always be more than 20. One very interesting feature you get in this condition is the hypouricemia. By the way, urine should be more concentrated in plasma. Naturally, sodium is the main thing controlling the osmotic force. So urine is getting concentrated, plasma is getting diluted. One of the important features that you get over here is hypouricemia. So uric acid levels are very, very low. Okay, they are very low. This is because of the V1 receptor action. Okay, ADH is also having action on V1 and V3. So V1 action is supposed to be the reason why the uric acid is so low. And if you give water, see, we all drink water. If you drink too much water, you give too much water, physiologically ADH should get suppressed. If it fails to get suppressed, that is abnormal. Okay, this is abnormal. So in all these, I would say just remember this very, very important point. Rest of it is very simple things they'll ask you. They'll give you the lab value sometime and ask you what's the diagnosis. Remember, urine should be concentrated, plasma should be dilute. It's a euvolemic hyponatremia. Okay, nothing big to it. So if you look at the treatment is fluid restriction, but see, fluid restriction is very transient. You can't expect a patient to do long-term fluid restriction. It's only done initially, that too for very mild hyponatremia. So that means fluid restriction is a minor role. Correction of sodium, definitely important. But after that, once you correct the sodium, you have to maintain the sodium, right? So you have to take away the effect of ADH. So Vaptans become the main drugs of choice. Long back, we used to use a drug called democlocycline. We don't use that drug anymore, but you should know democlocycline was used in the treatment of SIADH. So one of the questions I've seen they're asking in exam, can democlocycline cause SIADH? Totally wrong, because democlocycline was used in the treatment for SIADH. Okay, what are the drugs that can cause SIADH? Importantly, in our exam, repeat question only comes on carbamazepine. So carbamazepine is a well-known entity to cause SIADH and hyponatremia. Now there are a lot of chemo drugs that are there, like vincristine, vinblastine, cyclophosphamide. These drugs also can trigger SIADH, but I think for MCQs, the most repeated topic is this only. Yes, infections of the lung, infections of the pituitary, infections of the lung and the CNS can trigger SIADH. Okay, lung tumors and CNS tumors and infections, broadly you can remember, can trigger SIADH. But it's long list of things. There's no point in trying to remember them. Broad concept is what you should carry in the exam hall. Okay, so lungs, CNS infections, then carbamazepine, vincristine, cyclophosphamide. Okay, this cyclophosphamide. These are some of the conditions. These are some of the things that are important. But previous year questions, if you see, which drug will cause hyponatremia? Answer used to be typically carbamazepine. So to summarize then, main treatment, don't answer fluid restriction. It works only for transient period. It works only for very initial mild hyponatremia. Main treatment is going to be Vaptans. Okay, Vaptans. When you give Vaptans, watch out for ALT levels. It can rise. So over a period of time, you have to keep watching the liver enzymes. Urea drink is available to concentrate the plasma. Urea is diluted. I mean, the plasma is diluted. We just discussed plasma is very dilute. To increase the osmotic force of plasma, urea drink is available now. That also can increase the plasma osmolarity. Okay, oxcarbazepine is supposed to be less. Carbamazepine is the more important one that you should know. That is associated with hyponatremia. Now moving ahead, if you look at polyuria, we saw about SIADH, in which the volume of urine shrinks and it is getting concentrated. But now we're seeing other extreme, polyuria. This polyuria is defined as more than 3 liters of output per day. It is divided into two: primary polydipsia, which is also called as psychogenic polydipsia. Okay, it is also called as psychogenic polydipsia, psychiatric problem. And the other obviously is diabetes insipidus. The anchor point you should look for the MCQ is increased frequency of urination. Increased frequency of urination is classical feature of diabetes insipidus, because kidney will keep making a constant amount of urine. Patient will wake up to pass urine. He'll drink water, go back to bed. Again the bladder will fill. Again he'll pass urine. He'll go back to bed. So increased frequency. That increased frequency is not a feature. Okay, that increase, please cancel it off. You don't get increased frequency. Rather, the frequency of urination is less. It's less compared to diabetes insipidus, lesser in primary polydipsia. Because whatever his psychiatric disease, when he goes to bed, his psychiatric disease is also going to bed. Obviously, he sleeps. He doesn't drink water in the night. So you don't see the patient having the problem. Primary polydipsia is a compulsive drinker. He's forcibly drinking too much water. So the logic is very simple over here. This is a patient who is forcibly drinking too much water. If he is forcibly drinking too much water, naturally excess water will dilute the plasma. Excess water will spill out in the urine, making the urine very dilute. Urine volume is high, urine very diluted. Okay, urine sodium is very low. Why? Because sodium. Why the urine sodium will be less than 20 or less than 10 most of the time? Because too much water is diluting up the urine. Whereas if you look at a patient with diabetes insipidus, the core patho here is antidiuretic hormone is not there. Without antidiuretic hormone working or not being there, nobody is there to hold the water. So kidney ulta will lose water. So if the kidney is losing the water, what will happen to the sodium? Water went away, sodium left behind, it will concentrate.